We've all worked hard, excuse me. We've all worked hard to come up with a bipartisan compromise on the omnibus and the tax extenders. We're close to a deal, but we're not there yet. We've made it very clear the last few days that crude oil export ban can only be lifted if we make policy investments in energy, reducing our carbon emissions. So I'm hopeful that we can move forward on this. I feel fairly confident that we have something, but it's fairly confident. We have still one outstanding issue, dealing with oceans, and until we get that resolved, we can't sign off on this. But during lunch, I was brought to my attention that they also now have raised a new issue, and then we keep getting these new issues all the time. This one deals with program integrity. We have the child tax credit that's really important, and they keep trying to throw roadblocks up to prevent these poor people from getting the necessary help they need. And so I hope we can work that out. If everyone knows how strongly my caucus feels about that, we will have to work it out. So it's if the House wants to get this done by Thursday, they better get these things resolved, because I can't sign off on these things till we have a few more things to be brought to me that I can sign off on. Senator Durbin?
Well, we hope this is the last week, and we've worked toward this goal. It took the budget agreement to finally get us to a table together with a new speaker and to try to work out the fundamentals of funding our government and facing the tax code, which contains many provisions that need to be renewed on a regular basis. There is a grand plan at work here to deal with funding our government and dealing in a fulsome way with these tax provisions. Now we, of course, as the leader has said, have this new issue of energy. And it is a vexing issue because we know, at least we feel on our side of the aisle, that if we're going to deal with energy, we have to deal with it in an environmentally responsible way. We're working out the details on this, and all of you have asked me for those details, and fortunately we have the person here with the answer, Senator Murray.
No, it's reaching back.
What happened to Schumer?
No,
Oh,
he's
Schumer,
right
I'm sorry.
here.
I don't have the answers. Okay. Well, as the leader said, we're hopeful this week brings a close to the hard negotiations to produce a bipartisan compromise that funds our military and the middle class for the coming year. Now, I just want to spur your recollection. We asked for three things at the beginning when we began this whole budget process. First, we wanted relief from devastating cuts known as sequestration. Second, we wanted the increases above spending caps to be evenly split between defense and non-defense. And third, we wanted to avoid poison pill riders included in that process. Well, Republicans for a while resisted our attempts to sit down at the bargaining table. For months they resisted. Eventually they relented. Then we took an important step forward in passing a bipartisan budget framework that reflected our democratic principles, and have spent the week since hammering out the details to fund that agreement. I'm hopeful that at the 11th hour that today will bring a good agreement for the military, for middle-class programs, and the American people. And I'm very hopeful that our three goals will have been achieved. Above sequestration, 50-50, defense, non-defense, and no poison pill riders. And it looks like we're getting there. So Democrats have really, we may not be in the majority, but we're feeling that these goals are on track.
Well, we're once again coming down almost to the wire on a budget deadline, and once again Republicans are going to have to decide to take those last steps out of their partisan corner and get this done. Families across the country really are expecting us to put politics aside, to work together and make the investments that our country needs in jobs and health care and education and so much more, and they are expecting us to give them some certainty on critical tax breaks that boost innovation and give our workers a hand up. And they're expecting us to do all that without any more political fights or crises. So it's time to get this done. We're almost there. We're working hard, and we hope our Republican counterparts join us in these last few minutes to get this done.
I wonder when they didn't realize we had rubber tires around here. Yeah.
On the child tax credit, what's the hold of this? Is the index in question still, or is there something else?
No. Deals with program integrity, dealing with making sure that everyone is treated fairly.
Senator Reid, what do you make of the ownership situation at the Las Vegas Review?
Well, for those of you who don't know, the state's largest newspaper was sold 5 months ago for $100 million. At that time, people thought people paid too much for it. Here it is 5 months later, and somebody came in, an unknown person, and paid $140 million for it. They haven't announced to this time who they are. The reporters are kind of curious who they work for. But I do say this. I don't know who bought the newspaper for sure, but I guarantee you the editorial policy couldn't be any worse than it has been for 10 years. So we'll see.
Is it you? Did you buy it?
No,
It's not in the budget.
Who do you think it is, and why all the secrecy around it?
I don't know. I mean, we have a few rich people in Las Vegas, one of whom is well known. So we'll see.
Senator Reid, what's going to be on
And he owns newspapers other places.
what will be in the omnibus about Puerto Rico?
Well, at this stage, not enough, if anything. I think that we as a country should we should make sure we protect our territories. And we can point a lot of fingers at a lot of people and a lot of institutions why Puerto Rico is in such dire financial straits, but the fact is they are. And I believe they should be given some relief. I believe the easiest thing to do would be to treat a territory so that they can file bankruptcy. And this is what I've been advocating for. There are other more complicated ways of doing this, but I would hope that before it's all through here, that they can just file bankruptcy. That has not been agreed to by the Republicans yet.
Senator Hatch was talking about trying to help them out until February as part of the omnibus. Is this something that you could
I just
go
can't
along
imagine what does he think's going to happen by February? We don't come in session until January 11th. I mean, when we have the State of the Union. I mean, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine why Republicans so dislike Puerto Rico.
Senator Reid,
Notice I didn't, anyway.
have Republicans at this point agreed to stand for 5-year extensions on the wind and solar?
Well, we're making a lot of progress. We don't have it all done yet.
You mentioned negotiations at the last minute, Jacob.
Yep.
Could you clarify what that means?
Sheldon Whitehouse has been the lead we've had on environmental issues in so many different areas, but no one has been comparable to him as to what he has done to focus attention on what's going on with this nation's coastlines and the oceans that surround us and the world. And he has worked hard to get this done. We had a little pilot project last year that allows some grants to be issued, but we need to do a lot more than that. And that's what we're working on. There's of course more water than there is land in the world, and we have ignored the necessity of doing something to protect our oceans, and that's what this is all about.
Is that literally the only handcuff left in that playing field involving the oil?
Well, it's one of the last big ones.
Do you think the president will be able to maintain his pledge to give money to the Green Climate Fund as part of the Omni?
You know, I'm so sorry. You got it. Your voice is like mine.
The Green Climate
Yeah,
Fund?
I think we'll be okay there. Yes. Okay. Last question, because I couldn't leave till I got your question.
Senator Reid, can you update us on whether or not there's going to be anything regarding the visa waiver program or
I
changes?
wish I hadn't taken the question. No, I'm only kidding. The Speaker, to his credit, has said that on the omnibus there would be nothing that dealt with refugees. That's good. The bill passed over there, 404 to 20 or something. You know, virtually everybody voted for a bill dealing with visa waiver. That likely will be in whatever we come to here. We've learned that there could be some issues on it, and we're trying to resolve those, but I think there are things we can work through. Thanks, everybody.